This is Algebra 1, test number 9 study guide. Got through section 3.3, multiple step equations. Number 1 says solve the equation negative 6 equals x over 8 plus 4. Normally you undo multiplication, division. Normally you do multiplication and division before addition and subtraction, but when you're undoing it, you work your order of operations backwards. So you get rid of this plus 4 first by subtracting it. You subtract 4 from the right, do likewise to the left. Negative 6 minus 4, same signs, add them up, 6 plus 4, you get 10. Keep the common sign negative, equals x over 8, and these two will cancel. So that says x over 8 or x divided by 8. Undo divide by 8 by multiplying by 8. If you do it to the right side, do the same thing on the left side. 8 times negative 10, it's 8 times negative 10, not 8 minus 10, is negative 80. Equals divided by 8, multiplied by 8 cancels out. X's value equals negative 80. 2/9 x plus 6. Again, undo your order of operations. Do it backwards. Subtract 6 first. Do the same thing to the right side. Leaves you with 2/9 x. These will cancel out. Equals 2. Then it says 2 over 9 times x. So normally you would undo that by dividing, but we said a faster way to do that is to just skip the division step and go ahead straight to multiplying by its reciprocal. 2 over 9 becomes 9 over 2. You multiply the left by 9 over 2, do likewise to the right, 9 over 2. 9 over 9 will cancel out, 2 over 2 will cancel out, leaves you with just x equals 2, and we could put that over 1 if we have to, times 9 over 2. 2 divided by 2 will cancel out, leaves you with 9 over 1, or x is simply 9. Or if you multiply straight across, 2 times 9, you get 18, and 1 times 2, you get 2, and then when you divide it, 18 by 2, it leaves you with x is 9. Number 3 says 18 equals negative d plus 15. Get rid of plus 15 by subtracting it. You do it to the right side, subtract it to the left side to keep the balance. 18 minus 15 is 3, equals negative d plus 15 minus 15 will cancel out. That says negative d or negative 1d if you need to write that in where you can see it. That means negative 1 times d. Undo that by dividing by negative 1. If you divide the right, do the same thing to the left. A positive divided by a negative is a negative 3, and times divided will cancel out. D's value equals negative 3. This says 2 equals 10 plus z divided by negative 3. Again, when you undo your order of operations, normally you add and subtract. But since you have a top and a bottom of a fraction, remember, the fraction acts as if it's inside of a grouping symbol. So you have to act as if that's inside of a parenthesis. So you do parentheses last. So we have to get rid of this whole thing that says divide by negative 3. Since it says to divide by negative 3, cancel it out by multiplying by negative 3. If you multiply the right by negative 3, multiply the left by negative 3. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6, equals divided by negative 3 times negative 3 will cancel out, 10 plus z. Then get rid of positive 10. That says positive 10, so that means plus 10. Cancel that out by subtracting it. You subtract the right, subtract 10 on the left. Negative 6 minus 10, you're already on the left side of 0. Minus 10 means to go 10 more to the left, or add up the absolute values, 10 and 6, and get 16. Keep the common sign, negative 16 equals plus 10 minus 10 cancels out. Z's value equals negative 16. 5 says 42 minus 14 plus 4q equals 64. You just have to combine your like terms, 42 and negative 14. Remember, the sign in front of it is the one that goes with it. So 42 minus 2 would be 40. So when you take 12 away from 40, it's going to leave you with 28. So positive 28 plus 4q equals 64. So then get rid of positive 28 or plus 28 by subtracting it. You subtract 28 on the left, subtract 28 on the right. We're going to borrow 1 from the 6. 14 minus 8 is going to give us 6, and 5 minus 2 is 3. So we have 36 equals on the right. 28 minus 28 will cancel out, just 4q. So we have 4 times q. Undo times 4 by dividing by 4. Do likewise to the right. It'll cancel on the left. Q equals 36 divided by 4 is 9. You have to distribute 5 times both terms first. 5 times y is 5y. 5 times 4 is plus 20 equals 40. Get rid of plus 20 by subtracting it. If you do it to the left side, subtract 20 to the right side. 5y, these will cancel, equals 20. Get rid of 5 times something by dividing by 5. Do the same to the right. Y equals 4. 7 says 6p over 9 plus 14. Get rid of plus 14 by subtracting it first. Let's start there. Do the same thing to the right side. So you have 6p over 9 equals 38 minus 14 is going to be 24. 20. Okay, so we have 6p over 9 equals 24. If we do this, you can either do this in 1 step or 2 steps. I'm going to show you doing it in 2 more steps because it might be easier for some of y'all. Get rid of divide by 9 right here by multiplying by 9. If you do it to the left side, multiply the right side by 9. So 9 times 4 is 36. 9 times 2 is 18 plus 3 is 21. So we have 216 equals, multiply 9, divide by 9 is 6p still. So 6p equals 216. Divide by 6 to cancel that out. Do the same to the right. P goes 6 goes into 21 3 times, so that's 18. So there's 3 left over, so 36. 6 goes into 36 6 times, so P equals 36. You could have also separated and called it 6 over 9 times P, and then multiplied by the reciprocal on both sides, and you'd have still gotten the P equals 36. Then we're naming properties starting on number 8. It says name the property shown. It starts as 5 and it finishes as 5. Therefore, its identity doesn't change. So that is the identity property, and it's of addition right here since we're adding. Number 9 says, is the number a given solution of the equation? So that means when you plug in 3, because that's the given value, when you plug in 3, do you get a true statement? So it says 20 plus m, m's value is 3 right here, equals 23. Is, when you put these together, is 23 equal to 23? That's the question that's asked you. That's yes, that is a true statement. So yes, it is a solution. Then we have one-step equations, so we're kind of going backwards right here. Get rid of plus 5 by subtracting it. Do the same thing to the right side. P equals 9. Get rid of minus 8 by adding it. Do the same thing to the right. N equals 20. And get rid of minus 2 by adding it. Do the same thing to the right. Q equals, we have a negative 9 plus 2, so it's negative 7. Each of those would just be inverse operations. Inverse of addition for 10, and then inverse of subtraction for both 11 and 12. So that says x plus a negative 4. That's just like this saying the exact same thing as x minus 4, if you need to rewrite that to where you can see it. Equals negative 13. Then it acts just like the problem we just seen. Get rid of minus 4 by adding it. Do likewise to the right side. X equals negative 9. Combine your terms, negative 18 and negative 39. Well, we know 8 and 9 is 17, and 3, 4, 5, so that's negative 57. So n minus 57 equals negative 45. Again, same sign, so we added them up and kept the common sign negative. Get rid of minus 57 by adding 57. You do it to the left side, add 57 to the right side. Now we have opposite signs on the right, so subtract them. 57 minus 45 is going to be 12. And since 57 is a higher value, its sign is positive, so 12 is going to remain positive. It says minus a negative 7.4. That's the same thing as plus a positive. Remember, you add the opposite right there. So we have opposite terms, so subtract them. 4 minus 2 is 2. 7 minus 2 is 5. So 5.2 plus 8.1, when we put those two together, you get 13. That's 8.1. You get 13.3 when that's simplified. This says the absolute value of 1 minus 18. Well, 1 minus 18 is negative 17, but it's the absolute value of that, which means how far from 0 is it? Basically, all absolute value does is it gets rid of negatives, so it's 17. You can never have a negative value for an absolute value. Negative 0.8 times negative 5.3. A negative times a negative, we know is going to come out to be a positive. 8 times 3 is 24. When you carry your 2, 8 times 5 is 40 plus 2, so it's 42. So we have the number 424, but we have to move that decimal over. We have to move it from here one time to get to that one, and from here another time to get to that one. So we have to move it 2 times. So if the decimal starts here, you move it once, and then you move it twice, so your new number is 4.24. 18 says negative 5 to the third power. That's 5 to the third power with a negative. Notice the negative is not inside of it. So that's saying 5 times itself. 5 times 5 is 25 times 5 is 125, and then bring down the negative. So negative 125. This one says 2/5 times negative 35 plus 40. You have to distribute. So 2/5 times negative 35m, which is the same thing as negative 35m over 1, plus 2/5 times 40. 2/5 times 40 over 1. You have to distribute it to both of them. So cancel out what you can. 5 goes into itself once and into negative 35 -7 times. So 2 times -7 is negative 14m, and it's over 1, so we don't have to put it as over 1. Plus, cancel this out. 5 goes into itself again once, and it goes into 48 times, so we have smaller numbers there as well. 2 times 8 is 16 over 1, so negative 14m plus 16. Number 20 says negative 35 divided by -7. Negative divided by negative is a positive. Number 21 says negative 2z minus 29z. Same sign, add them up. 29 and 2 is 31z. And since they were negative, keep that common sign. 22, we name in properties. This is the one. 0.2 is the same thing as 2/10. 0.2, so go to on the side for a second. It's the same thing as 2/10, which 2 goes into itself once and into 10 5 times, so 1/5. So 0.2 is 1/5. So this is just like saying 5 times 1/5 equals 1. Well, we know that 5 is over 1. So what that is it's a multiplication of its reciprocal. 5 over 1 times 1 over 5. So that is the inverse. This is the inverse property of multiplication. And we actually had one like this that showed up on last week's study guide. We took it off. But all of this is the inverse. 10 plus 7 plus 5, I'm sorry, negative 10 plus 7 plus 5 equals negative 10 plus 7 plus 5. Same thing both times, just where the parentheses is moves. So that is the associative property, and it's of addition. '24 says you roll a standard number cube. Find P, or the probability that the number is greater than 2. Remember, a standard number cube has 6 outcomes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It's 6 sides. It says a number greater than 2. Well, how many are greater than 2? 1, 2, 3, 4. So remember, your probability is the favorable amount over the total. Well, your favorable amount, there's 4 of them we just said. Over the total is 6 total outcomes. So when you simplify 4 over 6, the number 2 goes into 4 2 times, and it goes into 6 3 times. So the probability of the number being greater than 2 is 2 out of 3. It says find the probability of it being even and not shaded. So find the ones that are even and not shaded. Well, there's only 2 of them that are not shaded, 3 and 6. The only one that's even out of that is 6. So that's only one favorable outcome. Remember, it's favorable over total. Only one favorable outcome. There's 6 total. There's 6 things it can land on. So 1 out of 6 is your probability for that one. Odds, on the other hand, odds are favorable over unfavorable. Favorable over unfavorable. So it says landing on a dark section. Well, there's the favorable odds are 4 of them are dark. 2 are not dark, so 4 to 2. So your odds are 4 to 2, which simplifies. The number 2 goes into 4 2 times, and 1, it goes into itself. So 2 to 1 or written as 2 to 1. Okay, for number 27, it says in a batch of 870 calculators, 12 were found to be defective. What is the probability a calculator chosen at random will be defective? Write it as a percent and then round it to the nearest tenth as necessary. Well, probability is the favorable amount over the total. Remember, favorable doesn't mean good. It's just whatever you're looking for. A defective calculator or broken calculator is what we're looking for right now. So the favorable option is 12 of them over 870 over the total. So 12 over 870. Again, probability of being defective. When you divide 12 by 870, you get P equals 0.0137. But now it says to write it as a percent. In order to write it as a percent, that means per 100. So you have to move the decimal place 1 time, 2 times. You have to move it past the hundredths place. So that gives you 1.37, and there were a bunch of numbers that came after that. But then the last part says rounded to the nearest tenth of a percent. So that means the digit right after the decimal. So we don't want it to go any one past this one, but we have to look to the number after 3 in order to determine if 3 goes up to 4 or if it stays the same. Remember, if that's 7 in that case, if it was larger than 5 or 5, it would go up. 7 is larger than 5. Had it been small, it would stay alone. It would stay the same. So the probability of pulling a defective calculator would be 1.4%. Because you would round it up to the next one, 1.4%. 28 says write 12 times 12 times 12 using an exponent, where there's 1, 2, 3 of them. So it's 12 to the third power. That's all you need to do for that one. 29 says division. I know it kind of looks like addition. It looks small, but it's actually division, so you might want to make a note on your paper. 5 over 8 divided by 7 over 9. You change division. Remember, you always want to change division into multiplication and make 7 over 9, flip it, use its reciprocal 9 over 7. Now you can multiply straight across. 5 times 9 is 45, and 8 times 7 is 56. So you want to see if they have factors that they have in common. The factors of 45 are 1. If you just look through your factors of 45, they're 1 and 45. There's nothing for 2. 3 and 15. 4 doesn't go into it. 5 and 9 go into it. So you want to see if any of those numbers go into 56. 3 goes into 15. 1 times 26, it doesn't. 5 doesn't go into 56. So no, this is a simplified fraction, everybody. 45 over 56. Then number 30 says simplify 4 times 801 using the distributive property. Again, you have to note with the distributive property, 801 is the same thing as 800 plus 1. That's all you're doing to make it the distributive property where you can mentally do this one. So 4 times that means to multiply 4 times 800. 4 times 8 we know is 32, and then just put 2 zeros to make it 100. And 4 times 1 is plus 4. So 3200 plus 4 is 3204.